Now, this is definitely something a bit on the weirder side. I know this is technically a Trainwreck Friday game, but just look at this game. I feel like this game is too unique to really be considered awful. It's more like always confusing. It still throws me off when Stream Elements does that. Oh well. Now on to the actual part. LSD Emulator. Let's start right at the beginning. Wow, is the smell sensitivity kind of low? You know what, I'm actually going to change that. Did I just break the game? Ah shoot, I think I broke it, the menu's not going away. Curse you, LSD simulator. How are you breaking this soon? I really didn't expect the menu to give me issues. Really? Okay, let's actually mess with the settings here. Maybe now we won't get weird problems. God damn it. And now the mouse doesn't work. You know, let's ignore the mouse. It's not like this game even had, like, twin stick aiming on the original release. So, this strange work is called LSD Emulator. And just, wait, you know, oh, it's LSD. It actually doesn't have anything to do with drugs. Yeah, I know, that's weird. Something called LSD not having anything to do with drugs. LSD Emulator isn't supposed to have one defined meaning for the abbreviation. It's supposed to be whatever you make of it. Although, the one most people will take is In Limbo, Silent Dreams Stand Eternally. Basically, this game is something of a nightmare simulator. But it's very surreal. Things aren't really meant to make sense. The menu is set up like a dream journal. Now, despite that, you aren't really going to get many words or anything from this. Now, I'm not sure if the PC remake has the cutscenes from the original yet, or like the NPCs, but there are characters. Like, you will meet a serial killer in wearing, I believe, a trench coat and a fedora, dressed in dark. So it's not just walking around in empty rooms. There are characters. Whenever you... oh shoot, I fell. Well, that just... So yeah. This chart is supposed to help you understand how you're heading in your dreams, but it's very open to interpretation. Why do I get the feeling the continue button's like off screen? It's really starting to feel that way. Curse you, unfinished PC remake. And your weird, half-supporting, ultra-widescreen. How do I open the console command? Shoot, how do I close the console command? I get the feeling I might end up breaking this game through pure unintentional means. I don't even know how to close the thing. Okay, let's close that again. Third time's the charm, right? At least this thing loads fast. Oh, it's saved. So that's all that matters. Oh, that would be kind of bad if I have to advance to the next day by closing it. Alright, let's not try to die, because that tends to be bad for your dreams. Unless you're trying to get the serial killer to show up. And the mouse is working this time. So the game's deliberately meant to have, like, low pixelated textures with very angular stops. The imagery you see is supposed to be very vague. The game well, I say game loosely because this really is more of an emulator, like the title actually has in it. It's basically meant to try and create the madness of... Shoot, I forget what types of dreams they are, but... You're not supposed to have a clear idea of what you're doing. And typically, dying in your dream tends to wake you up. The music is also deliberately designed to be short and repetitive. You know, to try and recreate the chaos of a dream. You can do things to make the music change, like without switching out sound. Now, I can't tell though, is the wall loading in front of me deliberate or just a draw distance problem? Kind of hard to say. I feel like this is something that could easily go both ways. Like, so easily. Lots of frogs. This looks promising. Damn it, how did I tab out? I wonder if I can see anything from the top. Well, there's that pixelated sun, just like in the original. So as you can imagine from something like this, when the original came out, you can tell it didn't sell well. This is something a lot of people would not like. And just look at it. You could almost say in a very literal sense, there's no goal. You're just aimlessly wandering and hoping for events or NPCs to show up. That wall is the same wall I came out of. Okay, I know this might sound weird, but I can't tell if it's deliberate that, like, the textures slowly clear up in front of you, or if it's just an anisotropic filtering bug. Because the original LSD deliberately had low, blurry, pixelated textures. Here they're only retro blurry. They're not real blurry. I kind of wonder if that's deliberate with the whole blurring in front of you, or if it's just an anisotropic bug. Oh, it's getting dark. And I woke up. So, even though it might seem like the dreams are endless, they actually have a time limit that's not the same. Some dreams are longer than the others, even if you don't get yourself killed. And I still don't know which button to press to advance from here. So, time to close the game and just reopen it, because it somehow saves there. I really get the feeling the continue button's just cut off. Because I'm playing on a weird aspect ratio. You know, let's look at the graph. Can I escape from here on the menu? Or am I just really trapped because weird aspect ratio issues? Well, it sure looks like it. I almost want to look at the controls, just to make sure I'm not an idiot and missing something. It's weird how it sometimes lets me use first-person movement if it wasn't set to default. Alright, on to day 3. This is definitely giving a different vibe. Because how deliberately simplistic everything is, it really lends itself to a bunch of different interpretations. Now, despite what it may appear, that exit is not the only way to advance dreams. I'm not kidding when I say this, but every object can technically be used to advance your dreams. The game has crashed. Wow, I'm just doing an unintentional job at just having this LSD emulator just crash constantly. I wonder if I should be concerned about that. Like, the game I actually want to play is just crashing constantly. I think this game saves surprisingly well. Is there any water down there? Nope. Purely endless. Because of how vague and surreal the game is, it's moments like this that make you wonder, what's better, to jump off right now or to keep exploring the dream? Because different things give you different results, so you can never be too sure. And even if you start, like, going on the nightmare path, which is probably the most well-known path in this, just because of the serial killer, it's pretty easy to get yourself out of that path if you don't want it. Although, if I remember right, when you take the path with the serial killer, your dreams tend to continue even after dying. Whereas in most regular dreams, you'll just wake up the moment you die, like right here. Ooh, I'm in center for once. Too bad I can't read the top and bottom. I really wish that... I just know there's a button that's just cut off. Because I could have sworn on the PlayStation version there was a button. Right, we're back at that weird house. Last time I exited through the back door. Let's go back to the top and see if things became more out of place. Nope. Still a relatively normal sky or cloudless sky. Though I'm not doing enough to get the weird and trippy stuff to show up. Let's throw ourselves at the books and see how that affects things. Alright, back here. Last time I exited through that door. So maybe I should try looking for another exit. See how that affects anything. You know, I know that looks like a dead end, but I feel like that's the only room this maze leads to. I feel like everything else is just pathways. Though, just for the sake of it, I want to see if throwing myself at a wall there gives a different reaction. No, same place from last time. What if I go back? I crashed the game again. Damn it. Maybe I should have gone the PlayStation version. I know the remake's still a beta. Like, heck, you can see the test build right there, but I was hoping this version would be more stable, just for the sake of getting the 60 frames. And the widescreen support. Last time I threw myself off. I wonder what happens if I go through the door this time. Alright, so we're back here. Looks like I'm doing enough stuff similarly to relatively replay the dream. I say relatively because I'm getting different music. But I guess it's close enough. See, this is what I mean. You never really know what exactly your actions do. Because I was faster that time around, it didn't send me to the same place. Now, while this game may look plotless, there is actually something of a storyline. The story is actually based off a dream diary of someone. I can't remember the name of the woman, but that's where the dreams are based off. So, later on you will start seeing stuff that's more clear and less vague. Well, it looks like going back and forth isn't going to get me anything good long term. While as tempting as it may be, I doubt death is the answer right now. Maybe later. I always wondered what happens when you're being chased by the serial killer. Is killing yourself... is that a good alternative to getting killed by him? Now, maybe it's just because this isn't the original version, but I feel like the original one had more backgrounds and places to explore by now. Granted, it has been years since I've played the original, but I feel like the original one would have spiced things up already. Not only that, I feel like I've seen this exact room in the original version, but I think it had streetlights. I wonder how it would feel in real life to explore a dark city with very minimal lights on. Would it be nerve-wracking, just hearing your steps as the only thing? Or would it be calming to have a city in pure darkness and quietness? Or I guess silence. Well, I'm back here. Let's see what the fireplace does for us. Okay, the giant hole to throw yourself down is too obvious. Maybe the bridge has some deeper meaning. What if I jump off a bridge? What type of reaction will that get on the dream chart? This could be worth something. I wish I could read the top and bottom font because the chart doesn't just have 2 words, there's something written on the top and the bottom. Typically when you go on one extreme, it's considered relatively bad. Now I wish I had the other thing to compare it to, but I know static basically means you've gotten yourself in a rut, but I can't remember the top and bottom words. Yeah, the next time I play this, I might as well just get the PlayStation 1 version, just for the sake of it being more complete. That might get me more mileage, versus having to close the game every time. Yeah, I don't think I bothered climbing the pyramid. This thing's so bright, it almost looks like it's not affected by the fog deliberately. I wonder if I can try climbing it. Can't tell if that's a dragon or a cricket. Alright. Now, I'm not exactly sure if the PC version has implemented any of the NPCs yet, because I know in the original, when you get yourself on one extreme, you tend to find NPCs immediately. And also, maybe it's just because of how similar some of the maps are in both versions of the game. I don't think I've ever gone to the dojo with darkness. I think I've always had like pink or blue fog. And the game crashed. You know, I think at this rate I'm better off looking for the original version while this is happening. Just during a dream, just secretly download the original. At least I could say for sure that the PlayStation 1 version wouldn't be crashing. Okay, I know the game's very surreal, but I'm pretty sure I should be getting different maps by now. Maybe the build I got isn't just as updated as I thought it was. Like this fog, I'm so used to getting this fog more often. You know, I'm going to give LSD 1 week. Because by now I should have gone the totem map. Day 6. So after the 7th day, if I don't get any new map, I'm going to... Hey look, a new map! This is the stuff I'm used to from LSD. There we have it. Love. Sustained by the roof of... vomit scraps? Vomit and puke? I know something people complained about in the original is how awful your footsteps are. And how much... Oh shoot, it's a serial killer. Actually, no, let's run up to him. Oh, damn it, he vanished. Does that mean I'm falling into his trap? Or am I supposed to confront him head on? I forget how it works. Well, it's good to know they have NPCs in the PC version. I wonder if I can find him again. So this is basically where LSD starts to shine, when it starts getting weird. Not because of the drug references, because I know I mentioned this briefly earlier, but despite the title LSD, the game has nothing to do with drugs. I know, it's such a weird thing, considering it's called LSD Emulator. Really, the abbreviation is meant to stand for whatever you want it, in the moment. Although, like I said earlier, most people take it for In Limbo, Silent Dreams Stand Eternally. Hard to believe, like, the original version came out 20 years ago. Such a weird thing. Right, so I'm back here. Let's go check the sky and see how that's doing. Nope, still a normal sky. Yeah, let's throw myself off the fence and see what that does. I need to pick somewhere without any additional pavement. Alright, let's go towards the sun. And it vanished. Alright, I'm starting to get the feeling the PC version might not have anywhere near half the maps the original does yet. It's like, these... Oh, wait, I take it back. Now, I know this might seem like a bug or a glitch, and it just might be, but weird stuff like this would actually happen in the original. Yeah, see, I got a different path. And the game crashed. You know, that's kind of the messed up thing with LSD Emulator. You can't tell if the PC version's just freaking out, or if it's trying to recreate some of the effects from the original version. Kind of a shame. Like, is the game not working? Or is it working the way it's intended? Never truly know. Also, I think it failed to load. I hate to say it, but I think this might be the game that's crashed the most for me. On stream. Alright, we're back on the weird map. Still the sun, no weird objects yet. Although I don't think the map was this foggy last time. You know, let's work towards love. This time love isn't encased by anything. Alright, I'm starting to get the feeling the PC version might only have a few maps now. I was kind of hoping to get more of like the crazier maps, like the city by the ocean one. The maps they picked are definitely varied. I was just kind of hoping they'd have more of them. Okay, maybe it's just me, but I swear it kind of sounds like the guy that's going, oh yeah? It sounds like he's burping, but like, are artificial burps, not real burps. And it crashed again. Damn it, it's going to be a real challenge to get to day 7 with how often this thing is crashing. I need a different map. Right after I was wondering. Well, I guess not wondering, I felt like there weren't that many maps. Finally, we're getting some of the weirder stuff, like the weird farm village. Now, the way LSD portrays dreams kind of makes me wonder, how often does anyone have dreams where they're purely on their own, just exploring, with very few people there? Because, like, I know the game might be like a little too wonky to take seriously, but if you had a dream where you were walking in a strange place that you couldn't quite recognize with unusual textures, and if you saw a serial killer, how would that feel? Because, like, the game here just makes it whatever you want it to be. You can approach him or run away from him. But how would that feel to feel it in person? Would you freeze up with fear? Or would you just tackle him headstrong? If he brandishes a weapon, will you pull back? And it's things like this, the LSD really does a good job of, like, asking the question. But I feel like because of the way it portrays dreams, you don't really get to explore them quite the same way. I feel like it's too surreal. Then again, what do I know? I've never completed a whole year in LSD, so maybe some of the later dreams become very involved. I have to say, this map's a lot more varied than I thought. I didn't expect to see this wall. It's moments like this where I can't tell if it's a bug or if they're just trying to recreate some of the wonkiness in the original. Yeah, that's another thing. If you had a dream where everything was foggy, but you could always see the sun, even though it was covered in fog, but you couldn't quite make out everything else, would you feel scared? Would you feel lost or confused? I know with the way LSD works, you tend to just run forward. And I understand. A lot of it couldn't be done the same way if there was narration, or, you know, scripted events. But if there was a way that could make things more guided, I feel like it could definitely go somewhere. Then again, it might lose its charm that way. Though I guess it helps that the PlayStation original has cutscenes every so often. probably helps tell a story. A story that no one will ever know the meaning behind. Not even the people who wrote it. And not because they just didn't bother to think about it. Not because they didn't want to think about it. It's kind of weird to say out loud. If you had to write something based off nightmares, how comfortable would you feel trying to account them? Okay, where's the bridge? I don't like this grass hill. I'm ending it on the bridge. Well, so much for that. Sure wish I knew what the top and bottom words were. Too bad they're cut out. Oh wow, I have a bunch of crash logs on this. Almost one for every day of the week! Alright, day 7. Final day I'm putting up with this. Hold on. And we're back, hopefully without any more interruptions. I feel kind of disappointed to say, but I feel like I've gotten the most out of this version of LSD Emulator. Kind of hoping for more. I feel like this doesn't go too much in either direction. It's not crazy enough and it's not normal enough. I can't wait for this version to be complete, though. Like, can you imagine how great it's going to be once it's like fully finished? And it has all the weird experiences from the original. Now, for a game with weird footsteps, I feel like this would probably be on the complete opposite of ASMR. The footsteps on this are so painful. Oh damn it, I thought I could skip over that. And with that, it's been the 7th and final day of LSD Emulator Revamped Edition. I was really hoping the dreams would be more varied. For what it's worth, this is a fun experience, even if it's kind of short. Like, it's surprisingly more short than I expected. Like, I know it's still in development, but... And what they did was great. I was just hoping there was a little bit more. But rather than call it quits here, I would say let's go play another game, but what could you exactly work off of with LSD? I feel like that's... like, it's so weird you could never really do anything to capture its spirit. So, yeah, I think I'm going to call it quits here. I know it's kinda shorter, but I feel like you can't really top LSD Emulator. So with that, let's go raid someone. Thanks everyone who showed up to this weird, novel little thing. Next time, if I do this, I'll probably get the original LSD emulator. Well, until next time.